Hello and welcome back to Football Manager Imperialism. I'm Stephen, this is episode 11, let's kick on. So onto the wheel and we'll see where we're going to go. We are heading to Bahrain, I think, and it's Al Najma Club. And they will be spinning to the north. So let's head over to our map of Asia and zoom in on Bahrain. It's one of these. So this blue team here with the white star is Al Najma, and if they're going north, they're going to hit Citra. So Al Najma Club versus Citra. Al Najma are the slight favourites, it's only just though, so it could be quite a close one. And it is Al Najma who've come away with a win, a 2-1 win. Ibrahim Al-Wali and Abdullah Saif, the goal scorers in both sides of our time there. Yorman Vergara scored a penalty for Citra in the second half, but it wasn't enough. Let's see if any of the Citra players are going to move across to Al Najma. And it's going to be the one player, and that one player is going to be Amir Rustai. So Al Najma here have taken the land of Citra in our first ever Bahrainian game, I just realised before. So Bahrain has had its first winner and loser. Don't know where I was going with that. Let's move on, and I nearly stopped the recording out of sheer spite of that absolutely terrible line. Let's go into our wheel and see where we're going to go next. And it's going to be USA. We're going back. It's Real Salt Lake. So Real Salt Lake are going to head to the west, east. Oh, already there's a fly buzzing round as well, which is going to drive me mad, especially if it'll land on the camera. Anyway, let's go up to North America and watch my lack of American geography really come to a fore. So my attempt at looking for American teams again failed miserably, and I eventually found Real Salt Lake over here. For some reason I thought they were kind of like in the middle somewhere, and I started about here and then worked all my way around before coming back to here. Most of them have the actual names on it, right? This one just has, I know it's obvious now, RSL, but anyway, Real Salt Lake, and they were going towards Colorado Rapids. So Real Salt Lake versus Colorado Rapids. Nearly said Switchbacks, that's the other one. This is a match of two very, very evenly matched sides. It could literally go either way, and we're going to see which way it's going to go. And it's ended just 3-2 win to Real Salt Lake. Again, I said it could go either way. It was a 95th minute winner in the end. So a 3rd minute penalty by Andreas Maxo, for Colorado gave them the lead before DeAndre Yedlin, who's still playing, and he's probably not as old as my brain thinks he is, but from the rest of the players who I keep seeing who are in the 30s, I keep thinking, oh yeah, let's have a look. Oh, he's only 29 in the game, so he'll be about, what, 1993? It's 2026 now. He'll be coming up to 32, 33, can't count, can't read. He's still rapid though, still pretty rapid. I remember him like just racing everywhere back in the Premier League days. Is it Fulham? I can't remember now. That's going to wind me up. Anyway, sorry, that was the equaliser. Then Rafael Navarro scored for Colorado to give them a 2-1 lead. Just after, midway through the second half, before Zach Steffen put through his own goal in the 85th minute. And then Diogo Goncalves scored the winner 5 minutes into injury time. So Real Salt Lake had 9 shots to Colorado's 5, but then Colorado had the possession compared to Real Salt Lake. So again, pretty even, two different styles clearly. But it is Real Salt Lake who have progressed. So let's see if any of the Colorado players are going to go across. Whereas I'm talking quite a lot for the first 2 games, so probably should keep that shorter to make sure that we get the video around an hour as opposed to 3. So one player is going to go across from Colorado, and that player is going to be Rob Holding. Okay, Rob Holding, formerly of Arsenal, is going to go across and join Real Salt Lake. So Real Salt Lake have taken over this land here, and who would have thought that the one Colorado team left would be represented by Colorado Springs Switchbacks, but they are the sole Colorado team, or Colorado named team. For all I know, one of these teams may actually still be within Colorado Because I don't know. So let's go back to our wheel. I said map then, we were on that. Spin and see where we're going to go. And we're going to go to Thailand, and it's Muangthong United. And they are going to head to the southwest. So, Muangthong are in Asia. I don't know why I was hovering over that for so long. So, this team in red here is Muangthong United, and the arrow is more south than it is west. So, I mean, it'd have to really thread a needle to hit either this orange team here, which is Ratchaburi, or over here on Yangon United. So I believe it's going to hit Bangkok United here. So Muangthong United versus Bangkok United. Bangkok United slight favourites going into it, and it's gone the way of Muangthong. Oh good. Basically Muangthong went 3-0 up in the game. So goals from Pichia Uta, Lee Jaisong, and Jaronsak Wongon. Jaronsak Wongon. The goal for Bangkok was scored by Weerathep Pompan. Let's see if any of the Bangkok players are going to go across and join Muangthong. And it's going to be just the one. That one player will be Vander. Why couldn't he have scored? So Muangthong have taken Bangkok's land here in Thailand. Let's head over to our wheel and see where we're going to go next. So we've done 2 in Asia and 1 in the north of America. I don't know where I was going with that. Czechia, and it's Victoria Plzeň. Let's see which way they're going. They're going southwest, more south than west. Go over to Europe. First time here today, Czechia. Victoria Plzeň are this one here on the left-hand side. The left-hand side, it's easier. I know my left and right more than me west and east. So Victoria Plzeň are on the west of Czechia, and we said they were going southeast. So with that, they just, because it's going to go and hit Nuremberg here as opposed to Bayern Munich, but that was close. So FC Nuremberg are going to be playing against Victoria Plzeň. Sorry for putting my finger in my mouth there while I was talking. So Victoria Plzeň versus FC Nuremberg. Victoria Plzeň are actually the favourites for this. FC Nuremberg are a second-tier German side. So I was actually a bit of a shock because for some reason I just assumed that Bundesliga 2, is it? Completely blanked on what the league's called. We'll call it Bundesliga 2. I just assumed that would be quite a strong league. Not quite to the level of, like, say, in England with the Championship. On this game, obviously. In real life, probably quite close, I'd assume. But let's have a look and see how this goes. And the favourites are out. So Victoria Plzeň, despite being favourites, have gone out to a 17th minute Enrico Valentini penalty. Let's see if any of the Plzeň players are going to go across to Nuremberg and join them. So we spin the wheel, and it's going to be just about one. Yep, one player from Plzeň, and that's going to be Lucas Kalvac. So FC Nuremberg have taken the land here in the Czech Republic, or Czechia. Victoria Plzeň were one of the stronger ones, I'd say, in Czechia. Obviously, you've got Sparta Prague and Slavia Prague, but I think Plzeň would have probably been the next best. Just from memory, I'm looking at the badges and I'm trying to wrap my brain to think if there is any stronger ones. I mean, they're not going to be stronger than Sparta, but maybe. Anyway, we will go back to our wheel and see where we're heading. And it is going to be... I thought it was Cameroon then. I was going to go crazy. Cambodia. It's Kirivong. So let's spin our arrow actually first before we head over there. And they're going to go west. Yay. So going over to Asia and Cambodia. Cambodia is you. So Kirivong is this one down here, green one at the very south of Cambodia, and they were going, damn it. So I knew they were going west, but I wasn't sure if it was going to go directly west or if it was going slightly up, but it's not, it's going slightly south. So, that's alright, we don't have to worry too much about where they're going to hit. They're definitely going to hit over here, Prachuap in Thailand. So Kiravong of Cambodia versus Prachuap of Thailand. Prachuap are the overwhelming favourites for this match, and is it going to go their way? No. 9-0. 9-0. Absolute walkover for them. So 2 goals from Samuel. Well, 4 goals from Durley. 2 goals from Samuel. 1 from Chuttipon Tongtai. And also from Saharat Kanyaroth and Chatmonkoi Tongkiri. I'm hoping some of that was right. So, let's see if any of the Kiravong players are going to go across. I don't think they need them, but we'll see if anything's coming. So we've got 1 there, and that 1 player will be Neville. And there we have Prachuap have entered Cambodia in the south. And now we're back to the wheel. Let's see where we're going to go now. Quick change, by the way. It's Gaborone United in Botswana. So, let's see which way they're spinning. Top left, northwest. And so we'll go over to our maps. And Botswana, so we're not in Africa, sorry. We're now in Africa. First African one this video. Okay, so this red team here is Gaborone United, and they're going northwest, so they will be up against BDF 11. So, Gaborone United versus BDF. BDF already have won a game against VTM in Botswana. I think that was the last episode, possibly. Who knows? Let's see how this goes. Gaborone are the favourites and have won, so BDF's run has ended pretty prematurely. Gaborone 1-0 winners. Carabo Firi, the goal scorer. We will see if any of the BDF players are going to go and join Gaborone. Maybe the 1, and that 1 player is going to be, oh good, it's him again. Tlahilefo Molibatsi, and he transferred from VTM to BDF, and now he's going from BDF to Gaborone. So Gaborone United have taken this stretch all the way here through Botswana. Not quite, obviously, all the way through. They've got a couple more teams. That is the worst badge I've ever seen in my life. Oropa United. It's like a really badly designed album cover by a child on paint. Anyway, let's head over to our wheel and see where we're going to head next. And it's going to be... Okay, I was going to say Slovenia, but I think it might be El Salvador. Just because SLV, you'd think Slovenia, but there's not going to be a team called Fuerte San Francisco in Slovenia, is it? So I think it's El Salvador, and that's just the Salvador part. So they will be spinning to the west. So if we head over to North America and hope for the best that it is actually El Salvador. As I absolutely blank. Oh, that's still Mexico. I need to be down here. This is El Salvador, I think. Fuerte San Francisco are this blue team here, and if they're going west, they're going to go up against Jocaro. So it's a all El Salvadorian clash. Fuerte San Francisco versus Jocoro, not Jocaro, as I said, or I think I said Jacoro. I have no idea what I said. Giacomo, maybe. Jocoro, and let's see how this goes. And it's 1-0 to Jocoro, who were slight favourites before the game. The goal scored by German Aguila. So let's see if any of the Fuerte players are going to move across. Using our big wheel of numbers. One player from Jakarta. No, 1 player from Fuerte San Francisco going to move across. It's going to be Jamal Charles. So Jocoro have taken El Salvador. No, Fuerte San Francisco's land here in El Salvador. Let's head back to our wheel and see where we're heading next. And it's going to be Labasa in Fiji. So, always a worry when it's an island nation. They're going south slightly to the west. So let's go over to our Oceania map and try and find Fiji. This should take some time. So this is Labasa. It is part of an island of Fiji, but thankfully Fiji is to the southwest. However, we're not going that west, so I am a bit worried that we're just going to bypass the island and... oh, we'd hit New Zealand then. Ooh, that could be interesting. Sorry, got excited. So let's bring our arrow onto here and have a look. It's not going to hit New Zealand. So it's not going to go all the way down to New Zealand. It is going to hit here in mainland Fiji. And it's this team here, which is Rewa. So our first Fijian teams, I think, both of them, Rewa versus Labasa. Let's see how that goes. So they're both pretty similar. Rewa has won. I don't feel I'm saying that right. I'm also trying to kill time before I have to say the goal scorer from Labasa. Anyway, Rewa won 2-1. So it's Gabriel Matanisiga who got the first. Sorry, I'm moving around all over the place and the chair squeaks, and obviously it's going to come through the mic. Gabriel Matanisiga and Patrick Joseph scored a penalty. And then, in the second half, 4 minutes to go, Labasa pulled one back through this guy. Sekove Naivakananumi? Naivakananumi? That'll be his name for now. And hopefully he's not the best player on their team. So let's just spin our wheel and see if any of the Labasa players are going to go across. It's going to be 2. So, 2 players from Labasa. It's not him. That's a relief. He's way down here. So it's going to be Christopher Wasasala. Wasasala and Sitiveni Rakai. So Rewa have taken the island Labasa held. As it's still Fiji, I normally wouldn't have put 2 logos there, but it's big enough space in between that if I was putting them in between there, they'd just be literally in the middle of the ocean. So for the time being, they're going to be on both the islands. Let's go back to our wheel. I've clicked the wrong thing. Twice, 3 times. And see where we're going to go now. I mean, getting Oceania early doors in an episode's quite good. We're going back to El Salvador. That's ridiculous. I was going to say we're going to Slovenia, but no, I've already made that mistake once. So it's Alianza in El Salvador, and we're going to go in the direction of, don't like that too much, west, just because of where El Salvador is situated. Let's go back to North America. We should still be hanging around El Salvador. Literally, it's very, very horrible to look that close. Alianza, there they are. Obviously the giant A gives it away, and if they're going west, slightly north, but not north enough, so they're going to go up against FAS. So Alianza of El Salvador versus FAS, also of El Salvador. Let's see which way this is going to go. And it's going to be a 2-1 win to FAS. So Jorge Luis Ramos scored a penalty. Ramos scored a penalty after 30 minutes to give FAS the lead. Wilmer Torres doubled their lead on the 52nd minute. Then later on in the second half, kind of midway through, Enrico Hernandez pulled one back for Alianza, but they couldn't break down FAS again to get another goal, and that's the way it stayed, 2-1 to FAS. So let's see if any of the Alianza players are going to go and join FAS. I don't know how many times I've said FAS now. Feels like I'm just saying it over and over again. It's going to be one player, and that one player is going to be Rodolfo Zelaya. Sorry. So FAS have taken this area here of El Salvador. That's 2 El Salvador teams who have shown up in quick succession. Well, 4 really. They've shown up in quick succession. All of a sudden there's been some movement over here. So let's head over to our wheel and see where we're heading next. And it's going to be El Salvador? No, Russia, and it's CSKA Moscow, so a relatively well-known team. And they are going to head to the west again. So if we go over to our European map, oh no, they're in Asia on this, aren't they? So let's go over to our Asian map and find Moscow. So is that CSKA? That is CSKA, and they will be playing up against Dynamo Moscow. So a Moscow derby. So it's the Moscow derby, CSKA versus Dynamo. Dynamo slight favourites. CSKA do have Igor Akinfeev still playing there. He was a huge signing you could make on the early football managers, and he's always been pretty solid. I mean, he's 30 odd years old now, and still playing out in Russia. He never really left there from memory, and it's well, he might have been the hero in the shootout. It's a 1-1 draw and a 5-4 penalty shootout win for CSKA Moscow. So they went 1-0 behind through Denis Makarov, who gave Dynamo the lead, but then Henrique equalised just 2 minutes later, and that's how it stayed for the entire game. Very tight in terms of everything here, bar possession. That was more towards CSKA, and there was just one penalty miss, which was Fomin. Let's hope Igor Akinfeev saved it, because there he is. What a legend he was. 37 years old in game at the moment, but if we look at his actual age, and judging by the date, it was actually his birthday yesterday, at which point he'd have turned 40. Let's hope he carries on playing for another 20 years. So let's see if any of the Dynamo players are going to go ahead and join CSKA, which is probably in the realms of Moscow, probably frowned upon. 1-0, what am I talking about? One player from Dynamo Moscow is going to go across, and it's going to be Botelho, the Brazilian. So CSKA have taken Dynamo's land now that they do border Zenit, so that could be an interesting matchup. Let's move on to our wheel and find out where we're going next. I did have a look, by the way. Igor Akinfeev did save the penalty, so I had to check. So, Jesus, Coatepeque from Guatemala or Guam or somewhere. GUA is Guatemala, so it's Guatemala. It's Coatepeque, and they are going to head to the west for a change. So let's head over to our North American map again, and we will try and find Guatemala. So this is Coatepeque. Coatepeque. It's difficult to say. And because they are going west and like south at the same time, they are going to wrap around the map. So I will start getting my arrows out and finding out which way they're going to go. Okay, so I've put our arrow on Guatemala. When I looked, it went just south of, I think that's Kiribati. And so I thought, oh no. So I've attached two world maps together so we can make sure it's easier to, as you can see, it just slightly cuts off there. So it goes past all the islands until it hits here. Is it going to hit the island? I think it does just clip it. Yep. So it's one of the islands in what I believe is the Solomon Islands, and it's the south one. So if we go to Oceania, as we go from Fiji, and it's this one here, and with this little extra bit which sticks out, it will be. So a Guatemalan team are going to be facing up against Real Cacamora. And when I say Guatemalan team, I've completely forgotten because this has taken me absolutely ages to sort out. Let's just quickly check. Oh yes, Coatepeque. So Coatepeque of Guatemala to be playing up against Real Cacamora of the Solomon Islands. Okay, so Coatepeque, after what feels like about an hour of trying to sort it out, it's not been quite that, of Guatemala versus Real Cacamora of the Solomon Islands, which is where we've managed to get to. So Coatepeque are a lot better. So let's hope for an upset, but just because why not? And we've not got one. Coatepeque 3-1 win. They nearly did it. Trency Hero scored a penalty for Real Cacamora in the 49th minute, and it took till the 77th minute for Coata Piqué to equalise from the penalty spot themselves through Armando Zamorano, who then went on to complete his hat-trick in the 80th and 87th minutes. So let's see if any of the Real Kakamora players are going to go across and join. So far gone, I can't remember where. There we are. And they're not getting any players. Just Guatemala, I can't even pronounce them anymore. Coata Piqué are going to head over to the Solomon Islands. So there we have it. That wasn't even an attempt. So there we have Coata Piqué have joined here in the south, on this South Island of the Solomon Islands. Let's go back over to our wheel and we'll see where we're going to go next, and hopefully it's a neighbouring matchup. Libya, I don't think we can go, no, we can't go too far. We might be able to go north and out of Libya into Europe, but probably not going to. So it's Al-Shat, unfortunately named Al-Shat, and they're going south with a hint to the east. So we'll head over to our African map. Nearly said Asian then. I think that last thing's just killed me off. That's Egypt. So this is Libya here. So over here, this yellow club, well, this yellow land here belongs to Al-Shat, and as they're going south, they're going to be up against Abu Salim. So Al-Shat versus Abu Salim. Let's see which way this is going to go in Libya. It is a penalty win for Al-Shat after a 1-1 draw. Plenty went on in this one, from the looks of it. So Ahmed Fawzi gave Al-Shat the lead. There's now another fly in it. We had a fly here before, there's two in here now. It's driving me mad. Sorry, that's completely derailed me. Thamir Sali scored a penalty to equalise for Abu Salim. About 2 minutes later, Al-Shat were awarded a penalty, which Brulai Sidibe missed, and then it went to extra time. And at the very end of extra time, Malik Shafi was sent off for Al-Shat. Just wanted to double check. He is a right back, so he probably wasn't going to be taking a penalty. But it turned out they didn't need to. Al-Shat scored all of their penalties. 2 missed by Abu Salim, but by that point it was game over. So, are there any Abu Salim players who are going to go and join Al-Shat? We'll have a look as we spin the wheel. It's just the one player. And that one player from Abu Salim will be Mohamed Jaouni. Okay, so Al-Shat now have a nice chunk here in Libya. Let's go back to our wheel and see where we're heading next. And it's going to be Tigre in Argentina. I think we've had them before. It does ring a bell. I'll have a look after we spun the arrow. And they're going north with a slight hint to the west. So I'll try and find Tigre. There's a few Tigres in the world. A lot of Tigres in the world. Yes, the Tigre have played already. They are currently in Uruguay. So if we go over to the South American map, first time in South America today. So Tigre were here, they moved into Uruguay here. So we're going to go from the Tigre logo in Uruguay. I think it's the first time we've actually had a chance to do this. So they're going north and slightly to the west. Not enough to get over here, so it will be carrying on in Uruguay up against Uruguay Montevideo. So Tigre looking to get their second win on the board. Uruguay Montevideo are making their debut, so let's see how this goes. It's a 2-0 win to Tigre. Nice and simple. Outshot, outpossessed. Nicolas Contin scored the first goal for Tigre in the first half, and then a Matthias Alonso own goal in the second half finished it off. So any of the Uruguay Montevideo players going to join Tigres? There's going to be three players are going to go across from Uruguay Montevideo. So that'll be Brian Gonzalez, Lucas Sansevero, and one of Leonardo Oliveira, Federico Diaz, or Joaquin Gottesman. So for those three there, we're going to call them 1, 2, 3. We'll go over to our other wheel. Continue, remove 4. Okay, let's spin. Let's not just spin this wheel. Let's mute it. Just making sure there's no noise. So it is the third player, which was Joaquin Gottesman. So Tigre continue their foray into Uruguay. They've now taken a couple of teams out here. So let's go back to our wheel and see where we're heading next. Still got that open for some reason. There we go. And it's going to be Sporting Sao Tome in Sao Tome and Principe. I know this one this time without having to say Stone Temple Pilots. Let's spin the arrow and we're going to go to the northwest. So let's head over to Africa. Sao Tome is this one. And it's going to look like I've pressed the wrong button. So Sporting Sao Tome are the team who have played already, and it looks like they've played, yep, a couple of times, potentially. So let's just have a quick check. Just the once, actually. They beat Barrios Unidos on penalties after a 1-1 draw. This time they're going, oh no, I just noticed which way they're going. Northwestish, which means they're going off. Will they reach North Africa with that? North Africa. Sorry, West Africa with that, we'll have to see. I think they will. So it's going to hit. Unfortunately, we can't zoom in from there. But it will, as you can see from the angle, it has hit this very bottom corner of this team, which is Medina SC. Now they're missing out on Beacham United, who have played quite a few times. So Sporting Sao Tome versus Medina SC of Ghana. So Sporting Sao Tome versus Mediama, not Medina as I said earlier. Probably not even Mediama, but that's what we're going for. Obviously, high favourites, and they've taken extra time to actually beat Sporting Sao Tome. Sporting Sao Tome, obviously, I think one of their best players was like 50 something rated overall compared to Mediama's, who, well, much higher. Anyway, the goal scorers were, so Gilson Santos actually gave Sporting Sao Tome the lead at the 27th minute from the penalty spot. It took till 5 minutes before the end of the game from, that's a wonderful first name, God knows, Jack Passu. And wow, God knows as a first name is amazing. That took it to extra time. Then in extra time, Josie Neto got sent off for Sao Tome literally 2 minutes into the extra time. 2 minutes later after that, Baba Abdoulaye Musa scored for Mediana, and that's how it stayed. They did absolutely thrash them in terms of shots and shots on target, but actually conceded just a tad more possession to Sporting Sao Tome. But as it is, Sporting Sao Tome are through. So let's are out. So let's see who from them is going over to Mediama. It's going to be the one player, and that one player is going to be Lenilson. So Mediama have now taken this area of Sao Tome and Principe, and we will go back to our wheel and find out where we're going next. We are going to head to... It's Docks United again. It's been a long time since we've seen them. I think it was the first episode, was it? And I got ever so carried away about it. But they will be attacking from within Burkina Faso, I believe. It's been that long. They're going north and slightly to the east, so they're not going to come back across the ocean, which is a bit of a relief because we wanted to see a bit of an adventure, didn't we? So here they are, Docks United. Click the wrong button. Docks United, and so if they're going north and slightly to the east, they're going to be going up against Sporting Bissau. Again, the Sporting Lisbon badge, or close to Sporting Lisbon badge being used. So this is going to be an interesting one, isn't it? So Docks United, I've been waiting for this for a long time to see if it was just a bit of a fluke result the first time. But the Anguillan side are going to go up against Sporting Bissau in Guinea-Bissau. see if they can carry on or if their luck's going to run out. They've carried on. Oh my god. Okay, so Sporting Bissau were actually favourites for this, and Docks United have just ripped them apart. So, okay. Jermaine Ricketts scored after 14 minutes, then Caleb Bryan scored in the second half after 64 minutes, and then again after 83 minutes to give Docks United a 3-0 lead. Panobu Cham pulled one back for Bissau just literally 1 minute later before Daniel Alza rounded it off in the 91st minute, sending off Mamadou Balde. Probably didn't help. That was just before the second goal, and I think that's probably why Docks United have managed to win. But I mean, take it. They'll take it. Completely take it. Let's go over to our wheel. They definitely need some players. Oh, yeah, it's going to be one. One's better than nothing. So if we look, it's going to be Panobu Cham, who is going to go across and join Docks United. So the craziest thing, Docks United have now got the most land in Guinea-Bissau at the moment, and we can actually see their logo just about, because it's horrendous on that background. I'm really sorry about the choice of colour, but let's turn the map that colour, yeah? Docks United, I still can't get over the fact that A, they're called that, and B, they've managed to win 2 games, both in Africa. They've managed to get over the ocean all the way down here, and then won 2 games comfortably, I might add, as well. The first game was 3-0. So let's go back to our wheel. I don't think we can beat Docks United, can we? What have we got? We've got Academia Puerto Cabello. Don't know why I struggle with Academia in general. Of Venezuela, and they will be going to the, well, it's west with a hint to the south. So we'll go over to, not Football Manager, we'll go over to South America. So this is Academia Puerto Cabello. Thankfully they're going south, so they're staying within South America, because the amount of arrows we've drawn on this map today, or these maps today, is ridiculous. They are playing though Yaracuyanos. So Academia Puerto Cabello versus Yaracuyanos. All Venezuelan game. Let's see how this goes. And it's gone to Academia Puerto Cabello. So they were Cabello. They were the overwhelming favourites for this one. So only having a 1-0 win is a pretty interesting one. They actually had less possession as well. It's almost like they scored the goal and then just kind of like played on the counter. So Michael Cavea was the goal scorer for Academia. Let's see if any of the Yaracuyanos players are going to come across. We're spinning our wheel. Going to get 2, so that's good news for Cabello. I'm going to call him something different every time, clearly. So the 2 players coming across are going to be Carlos Espinosa and Cesar Aponte. So Academia Puerto Cabello have taken the land here of Yaracuyanos in Venezuela. Let's head back to our wheel. I wonder if we're going to get a really big team. I mean, we've had Docks United, but a really big team in this episode. So, not with this. Kiribati, and it's Tarawa Tainano. And that's exactly how they pronounce it over there in Kiribati, I think. South with a slight hint to the east. So we'll head over to Kiribati in Oceania. Obviously they're one of the ones who are on the very south of the island. Here they are in yellow. So if we look down, I mean, if they were going directly south, it would be alright. They'd probably hit down here. As it stands though, they're not. I mean, we'll give it a little look on the arrow, but it might just have to be a re-roll. Yeah, it's missing by miles. So, and then as you can see, it'd go off the base of the Earth to Antarctica. I don't know how I forgot that one. I'm happy to go from east to west, but not happy to go from north to south. So we'll re-roll the arrow and see which way it's going to point. Obviously, we're hoping for not south or north. No, north's fine, sorry. Let's go back to our arrow and respin it. That's better. That's basically here. Yeah. So, and no, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this either. Oh, it's not too bad. Maracay. So, Tarawa T990 versus Maracay in Kiribati. In our first time in Kiribati. And it's a 1-0 win for Maracay, which is nice for me because I can pronounce that better than I can Tarawa. So David Hudlap scored a penalty in the 63rd minute, and that was literally it between the two teams. So let's see if any of the Tarawa players are going to go across and join Maracay. And it's going to be 3, I think. 3, and this is good for the Kiribatian side. Kiribati. The sides from Kiribati, because they're not very good and they need all the players they can get. So 3 players from here, and 15, believe it or not, is a good player in Kiribati. So they're going to get Dean Grant, Peter Village and Ben Cook. So Maracay have taken the entirety of the south region of Kiribati. Let's head back to our wheel and see where we go in next. So if it's a sensible one, sort of sensible. So what I'm going to do on this one is, I'm not going to change anything, but I'm going to show you exactly the process and how I do this and how long it takes sometimes. So it is Qatar, it's Al Shamal. So we go to the arrow and spin that, as we always do. And I'm going to go to the east, he says, worried. So we'll head down to Qatar, which is you. It's not too bad if they do go off the end. So we always check the teams. I could search. I know it would be easier, but by the time I actually get around to it, we usually found them. So Al Shamal are here, and they are going east. So they're going to go up against Al Shahaniya in an all Qatari matchup. So from there, I'll just bring this over. This is my main spreadsheet. So we've got the matches here. So we'll have to search for Qatar and find Al Shamal just to set the match on here, so I know where things are. And I said it was against Al Shahaniya, is it? Al Shahaniya, Twain. Yep. You're also going to get a lot of train of thought coming out. So I'll set the match up there. Obviously, as you can see, just add the scores in afterwards. And then also for the players, which I always check who the current upgrade's going to be. Obviously, it's very presumptuous that any of these players are going to get upgraded, because we've got to wait for absolutely ages before we actually get to the point where countries are going to get taken over. But it's just handy to have that player there in mind, because it's going to be their player as opposed to a player who's come in to their club, because that's what I said at the very beginning. So that's the wrong one. So now we'll go into Football Manager. That was the last transfer I'd made. In Football Manager, we'll then head to Asia and to Qatar. Qatar down here. So this league, Al Shamal are here, so we go to export the teams. I've got the last match still in there. And then we'll go to senior squad, and then we'll find the top player. Obviously there's 3 top players, so we're going to have to go to our nice, I don't know how I've managed to do this, but I'm happy with it. So we'll spin this and see which one of those 3 players it's going to be. It's going to be player number 3, which is Baghdad Bounjia. So I'll just copy his name because I'm not messing around trying to type that between 2 screens. And Al Shanayas, so we need to go to them. So we go, same thing again, export the team in senior squad, and then take the top one, Mark Muniesa. Did he used to play for Barcelona? Is it that Mark Muniesa? 31. Yeah, Barcelona. And Stoke. Oh yeah, I forgot about Stoke. He's probably more famous for playing there, isn't he? So we've got the players, we've got the teams sorted out, so we can quit out of Football Manager, because you can't go back to the start screen and load a new save up in the way that we're going to do now, because it crashes every time without fail. Apparently it's a known bug. So I've just off screen, I've just clicked play on Football Manager to come back in. And then now we wait. I've managed to download a mod which gets rid of the start screens, which speeds things up slightly. This is the manager, by the way. So start a new game versus 1v1 on this side, change it to hot seat and take 2-legged ties down to no. Go to import the team, so I always choose the one which came up first to go on. So Al Shamal, we add them in, confirm it's that manager. It's just the same manager for both teams to make it as fair as possible, even though it probably doesn't have any kind of influence on it whatsoever. Wait while it sets up all this, doesn't take too long. And then from this point we add another hot seat manager, which is the other team. Add them in, confirm, yes. Amount of times. So then it gets to this screen, get the competition preview. This is where it tells you the favourites. This is where I'm telling you guys usually someone's a slight favourite or overwhelming favourite, or so it's Al Shamal are obviously the favourites for this one. You've also got top goal scorer odds. I'm never going to go into all that, that's far too much. So go to team previews and just click through that quickly. Then we have to save, so I always save over the one. It's just as versus, because we don't want to save over the other file, which is where we do all the transfers, which is why I usually save twice on there once I've done a transfer, just in case I go over one, because I've got them as rolling saves. So click through until it gets us to, too far, it gets us to here. So I will pick out basically one of the ones with a thumbs up. Usually I aim for, if they've got gegenpress or control possession or any of these top four, I'll go for them. Gegenpress is pretty overpowered in the game, so I'll always go for that. And then I'll go for whichever formation has got the thumb up next to it, and then do a quick pick and an instant result. Simulate match, yes. And then we'll go team selection, exactly the same. Gegenpress on this one as well. 4-2-4 these guys want to play, apparently. Quick pick, instant result. Simulate match, yes. And this is where you usually come in when I'm doing my start to say, so we've got Al Shamal versus Al Shahania. Let's see which way this is going to go. Al Shalal are the favourites. And wow, okay, 6-3 altogether to Al Shamal. Al Shamal, do I want to break this down fully? We're going to have to, aren't we? So Baghdad Bunja, who we found out is going to be the best player on Al Shamal's side, or one of them, because there were three, weren't there? So Baghdad Buneja opened scoring on 9 minutes, followed by a goal by Yunus Belhanda on 24, and then Alex Collado on 27 to give Al Shamal a pretty impressive 3-0 lead before even 30 minutes had gone. Hamdi Naguez pulled one back on the 37th minute to make it 3-1 at half time. Straight after the break, Marwan Ahmed made it 3-2 to Al Shamal before Alex Collado got his second and third to give a 5-2 lead. Pele van Amersfoort pulled another one back for Al Shahanaya before Pape Cisse scored in the 90th minute to finish the game 6-3 to Al Shamal. So we're going to find out if any of the Al Shahanaya players are going to go to Al Shamal. So we go to our wheel, spin it. It's going to be two players, so that's a really good thing. As we've already seen, we've got Mark Muniesa is going to go across, and it's going to be one of Alvaro Sanz or Sven van Beek. So if we go over to our heads and tails, we've got tails, so it's going to be Sven van Beek as well as Mark Muniesa. So I'm going to leave the camera on and show you what happens now. So first things first, I'll go over to here and I'll move players over. Sven van Beek, and we will remove, well, first of all highlight it red just so I know that they've definitely gone, and then just hide the row. Go over to matches to do the same here. So it was 6-3 to Al Shamal. Oh. And if you just do that, it comes out as a date, and the amount of times I throw myself off by not putting the apostrophe before it, because bloody Excel, or cheap Excel, free Excel. So there we go, it's there, the results done on that side of things. So then we can go back in here, because I know I've already got the results. We can go to load game, because you can load out of this into the one where we do all the transfers, but you can't load out of the transfers into a new game. they never fixed it apparently, and they're not going to now because 2026 is out. So I'll just load up the Imperialism transfers. While that's going on in the background, we'll start making our move here. So that's already clicked off. Al Shamal made it through, so we go to our list and find Al Shania. God, don't have to say that again. Delete them out of that list, and then, sorry, I'm just trying to remember if I've got everything. Go to exported teams, delete those out, which I'd forgotten to do last time because I knew I was going to do this, and then go to our map, find which was it, these one, yeah, Al Shamal are there, pick their background, go over the other team's background, switch over to the pen, switch the colours round, come down here and erase the line which is separating them. Then we have to find Al Shan. Nope. I can't remember how to spell it. And hopefully we've deleted every single trace of them off this. So I need to remember. Oh, why am I doing it that way? I can just click them on them. Sorry. It'd be easier. Oh, we're already on them. Al Shahani. So right click on there and delete that layer. Hopefully we don't have to mess around bringing in a different badge or a different logo into the thing. We can just move them across because it's a tiny area for them anyway. That's the map sorted, so that's usually where I would come back in on the map and just say Al Shamal have taken Shamal have taken his land, but first we've got to make the transfers. I need the 2 players, so if we go over to Asia and down to Qatar, into the Qatar Stars League, go to the senior squad here, Mark Muniesa, we're going to move to another club, which is Al Shamal, and find them here. That's definitely the one for Qatar. Okay, free transfer, come back out one, find Sven van Beek and do exactly the same for him. It should already be loaded up there, move him over, okay, and then save. Always make sure I save. So that's done there. So we come back in at this point with that already done in the background, should I say, and say something along the lines of, so Al Shamal have taken Al Shahinaya's land here in Qatar, in the South Qatar. So let's go back over to our wheel, see where we're going to go next. At which point we're going to spin the wheel. Just a bit behind the scenes, and obviously we do that for every single one. So we go to Espoir FC in Benin. That rings a bell. Don't know why. They all ring a bell now. Northwest-ish, should I say. So, I mean, I'm going to move that one back over here. That's going to go off screen. But for the sake of this moment, Espoir. Stupid. Sorry, I usually search by the 3-letter thing here. Espoir we've not had yet, because this is match 1. Obviously, match 2, match 3, match 4. If you go, you can see there's a few who've done 3 matches. That's Amazonas there, for instance. But Espoir have not actually done a match yet. So we go over to Benin in Africa. Benin, this one here, and try and find Espoir. So this is Espoir FC of Benin, and as we said, the arrow is going to go up and north. Ooh, okay. So let's take the arrow. Oh, so it is going to go, as you can see from there, over here into Togo, and they're going to go up against Unisport. So Espoir FC from Benin versus Unisport from Togo, crossing borders. Well, one of them is going to be crossing the border, and it's the Togolese side, Unisport, who are going to go across and take Espoir's land with a 3-1 win. So they went 3-0 up, essentially. So Wasiao Uru Akpo scored in the first half, and then 2 in the second half from Hakimu Alaru and Saidu Nakere, before Usman Abikoi pulled one back for Espoir, but it wasn't enough. Let's check to see if there's any players going across. I wish that fly would bugger off. We're taking one player across from Espoir, and it's going to be Kakuvi Kadiko. So Unisport have now moved into Benin, the second side to move into Benin from Togo, as you can see directly underneath. That was FC. That's not helpful, is it? Moved it over. Tambo FC, who also moved over into Benin. Okay, so we go back to our wheel. Let's see where we're heading next. We're heading to Eyüpspor in Turkey. So they're going to head to the west with a slight tint of the south. Let's have a look over down in Turkey. Okay, so this purple team here is Eyüpspor, and if they're going west, they're going to be playing against Başakşehir. Eyüpspor being the Yorkshire way of saying, I don't know, some joke about Yorkshire. So Eyüpspor of the second division, Liga 2, I can't remember quite exactly how it's said. Second division of Turkish football versus Istanbul Başakşehir of the top division. So the Başakşehir are the favourites, but they've lost after extra time. So it was 0-0 throughout the entire game. Umut Bozok gave Eyüpspor the lead in the 108th minute from the penalty spot, and then they doubled their lead with just 4 minutes to go through Samu Saiz. Mohamed Arslantas pulled one back for Başakşehir, but it was too little too late. They had the majority of shots, majority of possession, but they've managed to lose out to the second division side. So this could be excellent for Başakşehir. So let's see if any of their players are going to go across and join. And I'm spinning that, I don't know why. Join Eyüpspor. Oh, that was close, but it's going to be one player. So one player from Istanbul Başakşehir is going to be Amin Harit. Amin Harit. I just got confused by a 20-year-old Irish guy called Festi Eboseli. Wonder where he's from. Sorry, no, this is why I get distracted easily. So Eyüpspor have taken the land of Başakşehir. They are in a bit of a perilous situation of being right next to Galatasaray, so the more they move to the west is probably better for them. Let's head back to our wheel and see where we're going to go next. And we are heading to South Sudan. Oh, that's going to make the SSD joke again. It's not very much of a joke. So it's Al Merreikh Rank. Al Merreikh Rank. They are going to go, click the arrow, to the northwest. So let's go over to our African map. So here, handily slightly darker red than the team beneath them, but they're not aiming that way. They are actually going to go and enter Sudan and go up against Al Rabta SC. So Al Merreikh Rank of South Sudan versus Al Rabta of Sudan. Trying to get them the right way around there. Al Rabta heavy favourites. They're not the greatest, but they are heavy favourites, and they've won 2-0, so and missed a penalty in the game. Muntasir Ahmed gave them the lead in 28th minute. Ahmed Awad then missed a penalty in the 73rd before Abdul Rahman Ibrahim scored the second goal to cement the win in the 86th minute. So let's see if any of the Al Merreikh rank players are going to go across. I keep wanting to say rank, and I don't know why. Rank's a word and rank's not in English anyway. One player is going to go across, and that one player is going to be David Ito. So Al Rabta have entered the north of South Sudan here. Thankfully a different colour now to Zalan from before with the red. Let's go back to our wheel and see where we're heading now. So we've had some alright games, some alright teams in this. And we're now going to one of the Virgin Islands, and I can never remember which way around they are. We have had this issue before. It's the US Virgin Islands, and it's La Raza, and they will be heading northwest. So La Raza are this red team in the south west quadrant of the US Virgin Islands, and they are going to the northwest, slightly more north than west. Take it from the centre of their logo. I'd say it doesn't quite go far enough across that way, so it will hit Hellenites. So our all US Virgin Islands Indian matchup between Lazara and Hellenites. Hellenites very, very heavy favourites for this match. So we'll see. It just managed to squeeze through. It was 1-1 after extra time and a 5-3 win on penalties for Hellenites. So they originally took the lead through Brandon Green from the penalty spot on 15 minutes. Then Scott Schneider got sent off for them for 2 bookable offences in the 57th minute. Franklin Tejeda, probably butchered that, scored an equaliser for Lazara in the 96th minute. I mean, Lazara are not a good side. I'll show you their current ability in a bit. That took it to extra time, sorry. Then Alfredo Jimenez got sent off for Lazara just after half time in extra time, and it went down to a penalty shootout in which only one player missed. It was Melvin McQueen who missed for Lazara, and Hellenites ended up winning 5-3 on penalties. So we'll see if any of the Lazara players are going to go across and join Hellenites. I don't think they'd get in. Just the one player, and that one player is going to be Franklin Tejeda. Good. After butchering his name once, I can do it several. Well, I won't do it anymore because he's not going to get anywhere near the first team. So we'll transfer him across. If you just by comparison, that's Hellenites' first team, so he'd be fitting in around here somewhere. But he is a better left winger than Matt Brewster for Hellenites, so maybe. So Hellenites have now taken a nice section down the middle of the US Virgin Islands. There's only 6 teams left within there, so we will see if that's one of the first places to drop, though there are 6 teams over here in whatever country this is. I'm glad I said this. Saint Martin, I don't know which one it is. I think only one of them existed. Like if you went into Saint Martin and Saint Martin, they were both the same teams. Obviously the mod didn't quite account for that at the time, so we've got one of those teams. One of those nations, not sure which one it is. Again, not something that could be helped, unfortunately. So we will go to our wheel and find out which way we're going to go. And when I say it couldn't be helped, I mean it could have been, but at the time, after all the setup. This is going to be Dominica, I assume, by just being Dom, and it's Universidad O&M. We will see which way they're going to go. They're going to go to the northeast, so we're already in here. Dominica. Is that the Dominican Republic or Dominica? Dom is not Dominica, Dom is Dominican Republic. So I don't know what Dominica will be, probably DMA or DMC or something. So this is Universidad O&M, and they are this very light blue team here. And as they're going northeast, they're going to get... is it? It's pretty much exactly northeast. So that's going to be up against Pantoja. Just for those geography nerds out there, I am incredibly annoyed at myself, but I've managed to put Martinique above Dominica, whereas Dominica should be above Martinique. Not something I'm going to be able to change now. We will just have to put up with it. Sorry. God knows what's going to happen when we get to the world map. I'll have to just assume that the further south one is going to be Dominica, and we have just moved some tectonic plates around. So Universidad O&M versus, or OEM, I suppose, versus Pantoja, all Dominican Republic matchup. Pantoja slight favourites and have won 1-0. Armando Vargas with a penalty after 25 minutes. They had the lion's share of possession and more shots in the game, so it looks like they were worthy of the victory. So let's just go over to our wheel and we'll see if anyone is going across. Looks like there is, and it's going to be one player from Universidad, and that will be Jose Jaquez Jr. So Pantoja have taken Universidad. I've forgotten it already. Universidad Organización y Método FC land O&M, but they've gone now, so we don't need to mention them again. Now I've completely forgotten already. Organisation, never mind. Let's go to our wheel and we'll see where we're going to go next. Can we escape North America? We've been bandying around here for a while. Yes, we can. We're going over to Russia again. So it's not again. Chernomorets, isn't it? Chernomorets. I must have said that about 4 times in a row. Sorry. So they're going south with a slight tint to the west. Let's head over to our Asian map where Russia is situated, and I'm assuming they're down near the. Yeah, they are. They're here. I was thinking they're going to be down near the Ukrainian border, aren't they? Because Ukraine have also got. Is it Ukraine or Bulgaria who've got one? I can't remember now. I'm sure that'll come to light at some point. So, Kidamaretz, I've just moved the logo slightly down, but it didn't really matter anyway because they're going to hit Gagra of Georgia. So, Kidamaretz of Russia versus Gagra of Georgia. Kidamaretz, obviously the favourites here, but will it be a close one? No, it won't. It's a 3-0 win. All 3 goals came in the second half. 1 from Vladislav Loskin and 2 from Gedeon Gazina. So they pretty much dominated in terms of shots, pretty even in possession. Let's see if any of the Gagra players are going to go and join Kidamaretz. And we will go, there we go. It's just going to be the one, and that's going to be Georgie not Georgie Kinkladze at all, Georgie Kamadze. Oh, Georgie Kinkladze, that's the name that takes me back. If you ever get a chance, go and see the Georgie Kinkladze goal against Southampton for Manchester City. It was, I swear, you see all the Messi goals where he dribbles around loads of players and then just dinks it over the keeper. He was doing that in like the mid-90s. I know other players did it, but he was doing it for Man City in the 90s. And it's a phenomenal goal. It never gets talked about enough. Go and watch it. So, Kidamaretz have made it into the west end of Russia, clearly. Georgia. And I remember saying near the top of the series, like right near the beginning of the series, I didn't expect the Russian teams to do too well because obviously with everything that's gone on in the world and that, and they've been kind of cut off footballing wise from like European competitions, so where you'd get the better players, like where Zenit were at, where CSKA were at, things like that. But in this, they seem to keep winning. So and they've moved into several different countries, and now they've invaded Georgia as well. Not invaded in terms of that. Let's stop talking before I dig a deeper hole. Let's go back to the wheel and see where we're going to go. And we're heading to Japan, Vissel Kobe. And they are going to head to the northwest. We're already in Asia, so let's just go to the absolute opposite end and try and find Vissel Kobe. There they are. God, always press the wrong thing there. There we go. Vissel Kobe, and they're going northwest, so they're probably going to. Oh, maybe not. I think they might actually hit there. How? Oh, it's slightly more north. So they could either hit next door to them, which is Hiroshima. What is it? Sanfrecce? I don't know how they're pronounced. Or they could be heading up into North Korea here. So let's have a quick check using the arrow. So if they're following to the centre of the arrow, it's going to hit here, which here is Wolmido of North Korea. So Vissel Kobe versus Wolmido of North Korea. Vissel Kobe of Japan, obviously. This was the biggest. So it gives you the odds I showed you earlier on. This is the biggest one. So normally it's 91 to 1 on. Is the biggest differential I've seen. This one had 201 to 1 on. So, I mean, that's obviously to Vissel Kobe, so we're clearly going to see a Wolmido win here, aren't we? And we're going to see a Wolmido win. God. Well, they didn't even have a shot. They had 18% possession, and they've held Vissel Kobe to a 0-0 draw and won on penalties 4-3. My God, there's 3 misses from Vissel Kobe and 2 from Wolmido, but they've gone through 4-3 on penalties. Amazing. Jesus Christ. Alright, so are any of the Vissel Kobe players going to go over to North Korea? I was not expecting that, clearly. Just the one player is going over, who's going to be infinitely better than anyone on Wolmido's team. It's Daya Maikawa, the goalkeeper from Japan. So after Probably one of the bigger shocks we've had in this entire series. Vissel Kobe are out, and Walmido have taken this land here in Japan. Let's go to our wheel and see where we're going next, and if we can get anyone quite like that. Any more matches quite like that. We go to Peru, and it's Sporting Cristal, and they are heading to the northeast. So over to our map for South America. We've not been there for a while. Sporting Cristal are this bright blue area here, and they're going north east, and so they're going to go up against Alianza Lima. So Sporting Cristal versus Alianza Lima, both sides from Peru, both sides very closely matched, but it doesn't look like that way on the scoreline. 4-1 to Cristal, Sporting Cristal. Let's have a quick look down how it happened. So Luis Iberico gave Cristal the lead in the 9th minute, the 48th minute. Oh, I do. They went 4-0 up. Let's just say it that way. So Luis Abraham, Nicolas Pasquini, and Felipe Vizu, the goal scorers for Sporting Cristal. Paulo Guerrero pulled one back for Alianza, but it's far too little, too late. So let's see if any of the Alianza players are going to go across and join Sporting Cristal. Northwest. I don't know how many times I'm going to do that before it actually stops. One player is going to go across from Alianza, and it's going to be Pedro Aquino. So Sporting Cristal have now taken Alianza Lima's land. Let's go back to our wheel and give it a spin. See where we're going. So we have hit every nation so far. That flies back again. Angola, not every nation, sorry, every continent. Angola, Petro Atletico are going to go east. So let's head over to Africa towards the south. Petro Atletico are this yellow backgrounded side here in the middle with a very nice badge, and they were going directly east, so they are going to go against Recreativo do Libola. So Petro Atletico, who are in FM called Petro Luanda, just to be awkward, versus Recreativo do Libola. It's a 2-1 win for Petro Luanda. Or Petro Atletico, however you want to say it. So Gilberto and Julinho, the goal scorers after 9 minutes and 20 minutes for Petro Luanda. Toco Felipe scored in the 77th minute in the second half for Recreativo Libolo, but it wasn't enough. So let's go over to our wheel and see who is going to go across, if any. No, none. Okay. I thought it was going to land on 0 the moment I said who is going to go across, as opposed to, yeah. So 0 players going across, so it's just Petro Atletico taking Recreativo Dolobolo's land. So Petro Atletico have taken Recreativo Dolobolo's land. I've also noticed it does say Petro Luanda on their badge as well, so whether it is bad intel from myself when I was putting it together and I've put them as Petro Atletico. I think I looked, it might have been Flash Scores or another one which I looked at, and that's how I tried getting the most up-to-date leagues for the teams. And yeah, so I must have picked it up from there, but obviously saw the badge and it matched up. Either way, Petro, we'll call him Petro, are there. So let's take another spin of our wheel and see where we're going to go now. We are heading to Mexico and Necaxa, and we are going to go to the mainly east, so over to North America again. It took me ages to find it. It's this red one here which has Necaxa on it. I can't believe I didn't read it. Again, I don't know how I miss these things so much. They're going east, so they're going to go up against Querétaro, who I think we've already seen once, because the shape of this area of land does not equal what I would have put together. I actually do recall Querétaro. Did they play against? It was a team which I really struggled to say. Querétaro, who played against? Oh no, Atletico San Luis. It was Pachuca who played Tlaxcala. So Necaxa versus Querétaro, the all-Mexican matchup. Let's see which way this one's going to go. It's a 1-0 win for Necaxa. It's Raul Sanchez in the 87th minute. Not too much of note that went on in the game, only 7 shots to 4. Yeah, a 1-0 win. I can't really put anything else on that. So let's see if any of the Querétaro players are going to go across to join Necaxa. They're going to get 3 players, so that's a really good one for Querétaro. Sorry, Necaxa. Not good for Querétaro, they're out. So they're going to get Juanpe, Federico Latorre and Jose Canale. So Necaxa have taken Querétaro's land and have this nice section here in the centre of Mexico. Let's head over to our wheel for our penultimate game of this episode and see where we're going to go. We're going to get a true giant. No. Oriental de La Paz of Uruguay. And they are going to go to the... actually pretty much directly north, slightly... I mean, we'll just call it north for the sake of it. South America and over to Uruguay. So this light blue one here is Oriental de La Paz, CDF or COF on there. So I'd have never got it from just staring at the badges this time. And they're going north, so they're going to go up against Rampla Juniors. So our old Uruguayan match between Oriental de La Paz versus Rampla Juniors. Rampla Juniors are the favourites going into this one, and they have just about won 2-1. They actually went behind in the 9th minute through a Gaston Coleman penalty, but equalised through a penalty of their own by Julio Buffarini on the 41st minute, and then to the second half Adrian Leites got the winner. So let's have a look if Oriental de La Paz are going to give up any of their players to go and join Rampla Juniors. It's going to be 3 again, 3 twice in a row. So that's going to be good for Rampla. Oriental de La Paz are going to give up, well, I suppose. It'll help bulk out the squad. So Leandro Barcia is going to go across as well as Ignacio Nicolini and Angelo Gabrielli. So Rampla Juniors have taken Oriental de La Paz's land here in Uruguay. As we move into our final game of this episode, are we going to get a banger? We tend not to when we say it. So who are we getting? It is Uppington City in South Africa. So let's go over to South Africa. Well, let's spin our arrow first. And they're going to go west. So let's go to South Africa. And then try and find Uppington City. There they are. That was easy enough. And of course, on the very last one, they're going to go and cross the Atlantic. So, Uppington City are going to go, as we can see on the world map, they are here in South Africa, and they are going to go across and slightly north, so it's going to hit a Brazilian side, I feel. So, it's above the little lip. Above that, it's still going to hit. Is that Botafogo? It is Botafogo. So Botafogo are going to be attacked by Uppington City. So Uppington City, a second tier South African side versus Botafogo, a Serie A, a Brazilian side. I think we know which way this is going to go, but after that Vissel Kobe versus Wallingo match, you never know. They got a goal. It was a consolation at the end, 4-1 to Botafogo. So they went 4-0 up, 3-0 after 16 minutes. I think it was practically game over at that point. So Luis Henrique, Lucas Halter for the penalty spot, Chris Ramos and Vitinho, the goal scorers for Botafogo. Ayanda Nkosi, the goal scorer for Uppington City. So let's have a look and see if any of the Uppington City players are going to go across to Brazil. It's not 3 this time, just the 1. And that 1 player from Uppington City is going to be Kaletso Mcgawa. So there we have it. Botafogo have entered into South Africa. I think they're the second Brazilian side to make it over to Africa from memory. I might be slightly off there. It has been 11 episodes now, so thank you for everyone who's sticking with it. Thank you for the guy who has been tracking the top goal scorers. Immense work there. Thank you very much for that, because that's just one more thing that just adds another layer on to trying to, for me anyway, for trying to create what I'm doing, and it take more time. So thank you very much for doing that, because it also creates the stories, it creates the world building, doesn't it? So yep. Shout out to Patrick Schultz 9936. Thank you very much for doing the goal scorers. I realise I should have shouted you out by name. That was quite silly of me to just say that guy. So thank you very much, Patrick Schultz. So yep, that's the end of episode 11. So please, if you are enjoying this, please keep liking, sharing, subscribing, etc, etc, etc. I'll see you in the next one, episode 12. I can't believe we're getting through this. Let's just see quickly how many teams are actually left in the competition by clicking everywhere but where I need to go. So we've now got 3,160 teams to go. So anyway, yeah, I've said all my spiel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.